I know this is a busy time of year, so I really appreciate you showing up tonight. I think this is a really important event for us. Great schools aren't great schools unless they have faculty who are not only committed to their research and their service to the communities, but are also committed to deeply caring about their students and what they do in the classroom. We're fortunate as a law school to each year to be able to award our faculty who are recognized by students for excellence in their classroom instruction. We get to recognize exceptional teaching in two ways. Several years ago, the trustees of Indiana University, the university itself, created the Trustees Teaching Awards to recognize, and I quote, excellent and meritorious teaching that is demanding, effective, and creative. And this year, we're fortunate to be able to honor 4 of our faculty with Trustee Teaching Awards. And then lastly, I'll be privileged to present the Wallace Teaching Award, which is the highest teaching honor that the law school is able to bestow upon one of its faculty members. Each year, the family of Wallace, who was a dean of the law school many years ago, normally joins us. Unfortunately, Susan Volkel, who's Leon Wallace's daughter, had expected to be here this afternoon, but then a sudden accident occurred and she wasn't able to make it. But each year, the law school thanks them for their generosity and for coming back each year and making that award possible. So lastly, before I sit down, a committee of students is responsible for nominating and then helping me select award recipients each year. And we're incredibly grateful for the amount of time they put in. The committee takes their charge seriously, and in a very short period of time, we ask them to review teaching evaluations, talk to fellow students, reflect on their own experience to select a slate of nominees each year. And they deserve our thanks. This year we had 3 people on the committee. The first is Katie Thrapp, who is a 3L originally. Brian's already clapping, so why don't we do that? I think. Way to get me off script, Brian. No, I'm sorry. Her involvement in law school includes serving as Access to Justice Pro Bono Fellow, a peer group advisor, a member of the executive board of the Indiana Journal of Global Legal Studies, and an experienced volunteer with the Protective Order Project. The second is Hannah Dill, and now we need to do a clap to keep this consistent. Hannah's a 3L from South Bend. Her involvement in the law school includes serving as the chair of the Student Bar Association, the executive business editor of the Indiana Journal of Global Legal Studies, and a board member of the Tenant Assistance Project. And lastly, Sam Hoffmeyer, also a 3L from Wichita, Kansas. Sam obviously sent out some bribes earlier on there. Sam is the articles editor of the Indiana Law Journal, a competition board member of the Sherman Minton Advocacy Board, and a member of the ABA External Appellate Advocacy Competition. So thank you for being on the committee this year. They'll be presenting the awards. And so at this time, let me invite Katie to the podium to present the first Trustee Award. Thanks, Katie.
Thank you, Dean Parrish. It's my pleasure to be here today and to present the first Trustees Teaching Award, which goes to Professor Charles Geyh. As his student and research assistant for the past few years, I've had the chance to get to know Professor Geyh well, and I cannot think of anyone more deserving of this honor. Charles Geyh teaches the fundamental courses of Civil Procedure 1 and 2, and he has in recent years taught a seminar on judicial conduct. He is an expert in the field of judicial ethics, and he's often quoted on current events related to judicial elections and disqualification. His real-world experience and background contribute greatly to his classroom teaching. Although many people describe civil procedure as inherently dry or bland, Professor Geyh was enough to turn the course around for many students. One first-year student wrote the following in an evaluation of the course. At the beginning of the semester, the material in civil procedure made me hate law school more than anything else. But at the end, it's my favorite, and it comes easiest to me, and I think that's entirely because of Professor Geyh's teaching style and accessibility. I am completely convinced that I need to take Civ Pro 2 just to have him again. No matter which course he is teaching, Professor Geyh is transparent with his expectations and extremely organized. He presents the material in a clear way that makes difficult subjects approachable. Professor Geyh's signature humor also keeps students engaged throughout the class. Students say that his energy is contagious and much appreciated, and his humor and teaching style are a breath of fresh air. His unique and, quote, fantastic ties are often the subject of conversation before or after class. However, students note that he balances humor and professionalism very well. So students generally like their professors, but they love Professor Geyh. Some teachers integrate humor into their teaching, but Geyh could, quote, be a stand-up comedian. He is not just a favorite, but the favorite professor of many students. He knows the material inside and out. As one student put it, he is a preeminent authority on this subject, and it oozes out in lecture. For many at this school, he simply is civil procedure. So Professor Geyh, on behalf of the student body, I'd like to thank you for all you've taught us, both inside and outside the classroom. Congratulations. And Sam, coming up next to present.
On behalf of myself and the entire student body, I am proud to present the second Trustees Teaching Award to one of my favorite professors in law school, Professor Fletcher. Professor Fletcher challenges her students to thoroughly study the material for each and every class. She has been described by her students as very engaging, extremely clear and systematic, masterful in the subject, and a very exact lecturer. She demands a lot of her students, but those students who meet her expectations on a daily basis are readily rewarded with a true and thorough understanding of the material she has covered. Professor Fletcher's passion and commitment to excellence is also very clear. As one student aptly described her, Professor Fletcher knocks it out of the park. The Trustees Teaching Awards are given to faculty members who have demonstrated that they are the best teachers. One would be hard-pressed to find another teacher who better meets this description. Please join me in recognizing Professor Fletcher. Hannah will present the next award.
On behalf of the students, I'd like to announce that Professor Amy Applegate will be receiving the third Trustee Award. Professor Amy Applegate is a devoted classroom and clinical professor who emulates the criteria for the Trustee Teaching Award. Her ability to teach the intensive week-long domestic relations mediation course in a manner that prepares students for success in the Family and Children Mediation Clinic makes her deserving of this award. Amy, as that is what she prefers her students to call her, creates an engaging and exciting learning environment by bringing in guest lecturers from other IU departments and giving students multiple opportunities to practice their mediation skills in detailed simulations. She also invites well-respected family law attorneys and mediators to the class to critique the students during these simulations. This gives the group of new mediators invaluable feedback. In addition to her effective and creative teaching style, Professor Applegate is receiving this award because of her passion for her students and her dedication to helping them learn and grow as future lawyers. One student praised Amy in her ability to create a judgment-free environment where students all felt comfortable to share their thoughts and opinion. Another student wrote that Professor Applegate is really dedicated to teaching her students. While this might seem like a given, it is unique. She is able to develop in her students a confidence in their work as well as a dedication that comes from having ownership of their cases. Amy not only cares about her students developing as mediators and lawyers, but also as human beings. Each semester, Amy opens her home to past, present, and future clinic students to come and have dinner and share in fellowship. Amy also meets weekly with her students to discuss clinic matters, but also to talk about life. These meetings allow students to open up with Amy about their fears or concerns with a mediation and share their personal stories. During these meetings, Amy listens intently to the students' concerns and stories, taking the time to truly get to know them. She understands that each student brings a unique experience and perspective into the clinic, and she takes the time to learn those experiences and perspectives are. Professor Amy Applegate's dedication to student learning and development qualifies her for this Trustee Teaching Award. but the lasting impact she has on her students through helping them develop professional and life skills is why she's receiving it. Sam's going to present the next award.
I'm also proud to present today the Adjunct Teaching Award, and I'm proud to present that to another one of my favorite professors, Professor Morrison. Professor Morrison has been an incredibly active member of the law school faculty. Because of his experiences with the United States Attorney's Office and with the Marion and Monroe County Prosecutor's Offices, Professor Morrison approaches each and every class session with a practical mindset that is uniquely engaging for his students. As one student put it, Professor Morrison's abundance of experience as a prosecutor provides a field operative's point of view to criminal procedure. Professor Morrison's passion and enthusiasm for his students is also readily apparent. Described as wonderfully nice, funny, engaging, and very personable, Professor Morrison actively engages with his students both in the classroom, during office hours, and in the hallways before and after class. Adjunct instructors are vital members of any school's teaching staff as they provide a unique mindset and approach to important areas of study. The best of these instructors are recognized each year with the Adjunct Teaching Award. Professor Morrison represents everything that is positive about these instructors. Please join me in recognizing Professor Morrison. Dean Parrish will now present the Wallace Award.
As Katie, Hannah, and Sam were presenting, it made me think actually that the award recipients should be thanking the rest of us for making our classes particularly dull, boring, and letting them shine. But the Leon Wallace Teaching Award is, as I said at the start of the ceremony, is the highest teaching award honor we can bestow on our faculty. It stands for the very highest standards of teaching, and an opportunity to make such an award is not only cause for celebration, it's an important institutional statement of our own. Enables us as an institution to recognize and honor fine teaching. It's my privilege to award this year's Leon Wallace Teaching Award to Professor Dan Conkle. I should have mentioned earlier, when the committee is tasked with selecting nominees for the teaching awards, we don't let them get away with just telling us who they think should be awarded. We require them to write up a full brief, basically, as to the reasons for why they think the teacher is particularly deserving. So instead of me botching it and creating my own reasons for why Professor Conkle deserves this award, I thought I would just read from the nomination itself, because I think it captures the feeling of the student body so well. Professor Conkle unequivocally embodies the heart of this award. He's beloved by his students for his humor, through course planning, and his unbiased presentation of complex doctrine. In 1 year's time, more than 10 students praised Professor Conkle as their favorite professor, as his courses are, quote, the best they've ever taken in law school. One student described Professor Conkle as, quote, the caliber of teacher he signed up for when coming to law school, end quote. Another said, quote, he felt like he had struck gold having him as a professor. Students enjoy his humor and praise his ability to time lectures down to the very second. One described Professor Conkle as, I quote, a time wizard. While Professor Conkle's classroom management is impressive, what is more impressive is how he crafts the reading assignments to make the material easier to understand. One student wrote, he has, quote, a remarkable way of clearly communicating complex cases. He breaks them down much more clearly than the casebook, and, quote, his lists and charts make it much easier to understand the reasoning of the court or how they balanced interest. While Professor Conkle's planning and timing contribute to his excellent lectures, the substance is what truly resonates. Students are impressed with his ability to present the material in an unbiased, impartial, and neutral manner without glossing over polarized issues. Through cold calling and guided discussions, he's able to break down this complex issues with rare talent. Students appreciate his, quote, thought-provoking cold calls and, quote, the friendly manner in which he asks them. They respect his ability to guide students to the right answer without making them feel, quote, dumb. Another wrote, quote, his method of teaching is clear, his handling of sensitive subjects thoughtful, and I'm always motivated to do my best work. He's not only dedicated to student learning in the classroom, but also to the student experience more broadly. Over 3 years, students have seen Professor Conkle engage in the SBA golf tournament, singing for summer salaries, the Women's Law Caucus auction, serving as a moderator for countless guest lectures and panels. Quote, it is without question that Professor Conkle is one of the most devoted faculty members at the law school. Professor Conkle is an invaluable member of the community here. He's certainly well deserving of the Leon Wallace Award, and it's my privilege to be able to award it to him today. Professor Conkle. Thank you for coming. That concludes this year's award ceremony. If the recipients could stay, because we're going to take a few pictures with the committee. Thank you so much.